You said earlier that you have an estimate for an area. So give us a range of like, how do you estimate the kitchen? Because it's not like you measuring the linear foot of the countertop, the cabinets, So how do you estimate a kitchen, what it's going to cost?
Because I know the cost of my cabinets. I've put in, so I know that I'm getting cabinets for this size kitchen. And I know I'm not getting out of it for less than $3,200 for the material, right? And so I'll ballpark it. And if I'm doing my kitchen cabinets, chances are the vanities are not great. So, I'm putting builder grade shaker cabinets in my home. And it definitely, that's a great question again, because they can sneak up on you a little bit, so that you needed a few more cabinets than you really realized when you were in there. And now you're paying $46 for cabinets, and you budgeted $35 for cabinets, but the material alone now is $46. How do I know this? Well, it happened to me 6 months ago. Another thing, I've broken even on one property and I've lost money on one property. And one of the property that I broke even on, I had to do 2 price reductions that hit me. This was quite a few years ago, and it wouldn't sell. But another thing that hit me, you wouldn't even believe, I always put blinds in my home. This house had so many windows that I ended up paying something like $2,600 for blinds.
My God, for blinds.
Some of the blinds, some of the windows were they were more than 71 inches. So are you going in and putting, the 35-inch blind and setting it up? The price point on the home was not such that I could do that. It was $2,600 for blinds. And, I broke even on that property. So I budgeted $1,000. And it's crazy because sometimes if you have higher square footage, people are like, oh, I've got 3 bathrooms. All that means to me is extra money spent. 3 bathrooms. They're touting it. The seller is like, this is a bonus. And I'm thinking 3 showers I have to tile, 3 toilets I have to replace. But if I could say one thing about it, so you're going to get hit. I'm going to get hit. I just got hit on $1,000 over what I thought I would be spending on cabinets. And I've done loads of rehabs. So it's going to happen. And, like I said as well, little things that you just don't kind of think about, where this is how much I have for blinds, and all of a sudden way more windows than I anticipated. And I saw them when I walked in, but it never occurred to me. So that's going to happen. But as long as you understand and you have your numbers right, because you can ask me pretty much a repair number on most things in a house, and I'm going to come within a few $100s of the actual cost. And I know exactly what I can spend on my faucets. I know exactly what I can spend on my price per square foot for tile. And if you don't know those costs, you'll get into a little bit of trouble rehabbing. That was one of the very first things that I did. And I was lucky. I got into this rehabbing I wouldn't say by accident, but when I very first started doing properties, I had a project manager who taught me how to rehab a house. Now, he wasn't great at understanding the numbers, but he was a tremendous rehabber. He had excellent taste, and he could squeeze a dollar for sure. And I learned a lot. We worked together for about 2 years, and we kind of parted ways right when I bought my franchise, my HomeVestor franchise. But I learned so much from him. And as quickly as you can, know your numbers. Not your ARVs, not your closing costs, not your cost of your money, not your ROI, all of those very important numbers as well. But know the cost of your tile. Because I tell people, you can put out a nice product. Anybody can put out a super nice home and very nice product. But can you do it within that budget? And if you don't know how much you're spending per square foot for tile, how much you're spending for this, costs will just run away. They'll run away on you.
I used to be at $450 a square foot. I think now I'm at $650. for tile now.
For what? For
Tile.
tile? For the install or for the material
The whole
and
thing.
install?
It's finished. It's
Putting
crazy.
some nice tile in there.
Well, I'm doing LVP mostly now. I don't do tile much anymore.
I do also. I've been doing LVP in the bathrooms. And I can get that LVP for, well, let's do the math. I can get that LVP for, I think right now, $1.25 less per square foot than my tile. And I used to put tile in my bathrooms, but now that we've got this LVP, it's one less trade because they're putting it across, throughout the home. And if they're throwing it, if it looks good and it fits those bathrooms, I'm doing that as well. And it's cheaper than the tile. And so if it looks good, then it's perfect.
Absolutely.
Let me tell you another little story about that. I was also walking a house with this person who shall go nameless, very good at what he does.
Yeah.
And he says, well, I had to stop at a project before we were, going to go get a coffee or walk a house. I don't remember what it was, but we had to stop at one of my projects. So it's the first time he had ever been at one of my projects. And he says, oh, can't wait to go see how it's done, essentially, whatever. So we get there and we're looking at some of these finishes, and all of my finishes, I will say, are the same. I don't redo things. I'm using the same LVP. I'm using the same backsplash.
Me too.
And we have levels, right? We have 1 and 2 level, right? So if it's a level 1, it's this backsplash, et cetera, because I am not going around looking for different finishes all the time. That's not how that works. But we were at a period where we went in and it was, these are your choices for LVP. Which one are you liking? And it was, I think that's what I was doing there. I was going to look at these choices and see which one we were going to start using, because LVP was just kind of coming on the market.
Yeah.
And this person who puts me to shame in the amount of business that he does, I said, which one do you prefer? Which one do you like? And he just plain as day said, I don't think it matters. And I looked at him and I said, you're an idiot. Of course it matters. Of course it matters. He didn't see it. And we've talked about, we've talked about Eddie Gant not knowing the difference between a wood or an oil base and a water base paint. He has someone that does that for him, but I'm actually the rehabber, and I'm here to tell you, your finishes matter. They matter because when your home hits that market, you want it to sell quickly. And so, of course, it matters. So you want, and if you're not good, if you don't have a flair for design or color palette, and you're looking at so many pictures online, you can study it that way, get good at it that way. But if you just don't have a flair for design at all, hire someone to set your colors, to set your product up, so that you don't have to worry about that. And you can then put out a nice product, because rehabbing, there's a lot involved in it. But at the end of the day, does your house fly off the shelf? And does it fly off the shelf for some of the highest per square foot price in the neighborhood? Yeah, mine does. For whatever that's worth. Know your numbers.
This episode is brought to you by National Real Estate Insurance Group, a national independent insurance agency specifically for real estate investors. I personally use NREIG for my investment properties. They offer a low monthly payment option to help you to lower your cash out of pocket when buying an investment property. If you're looking for insurance coverage for your flips or your rental, reach out to them. You can click on the link in the show descriptions, or you can reach out to Jules at 816-946-8443.